In this episode, we're going to look at more 80s toys I wish I had when I was a kid. So, stick around. Hello, fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name's Rob, and in this episode, we're going to talk about more 80s toys I wish I had when I was a kid. Now, these are toys that somehow slipped between my fingers. They're toys that were either just outright denied by my parents. They were toys that I would see the commercials for, but never saw them in real life. Or things that I think just never made it to my neck of the woods growing up. Where I lived, we only had one toy store, and that was a little mom and pop store that didn't get everything. And to be honest, for some reason, my parents didn't like it, and I hardly ever went there. I think I only went there for like 3 times in the whole time that it existed. Yeah, weird. But anyway, you don't have a lot of choices in a small town growing up, but I made do with what I could. And now I make these lists to make myself feel better. So, thanks. Let's kick things off with number 1. This would be 11 maybe. Number 1 on the list, and that would be from the Star Wars universe, and that's the Ewok Battle Wagon. Released by Kenner in 1985. This went along more with the cartoon series, which I gotta say, I'm still super psyched that the cartoons and the movies are on Disney Plus now. I mean, yeah, I've been an Ewok fan ever since I was a wee kid, and I wanted everything I could get with the Ewoks on it. Unfortunately, this was one that I cannot remember why I didn't get it. I mean, it could have been the parentals, it could have been just never saw it. I don't remember. But I remember seeing it and wanting it so bad. The one thing that really stood out about this battle wagon is the tusked banta skull that is on the top of it. How tough is that? Can you imagine being on a battlefield and seeing this thing rolling at you with these little fuzzy monsters hanging off of it, yub-nubbing and chirping and making weird battle cries with spears and axes and this huge skull just coming at you? Yeah, that would scare the crap out of any stormtrooper. And apparently, even though this was part of the cartoon universe, on Wikipedia, they talk about how it has a backstory within what we saw in the movies, even though we never did see it in the movies, which is unfortunate. But even though we didn't see it in the movies, it did get some play in the cartoon, which is awesome. And there's this awesome package art for it. I mean, you had the stereotypical Star Wars packaging of the actual photo of the thing, but they also released this type of packaging that had great artwork. I mean, this just solidifies how awesome this thing really was. I think it goes without saying that I want any Ewok related thing in my collection. I mean, I buy things like this. So to have some of the original Kenner stuff, yeah, I would love to have that. And as we go exploring hunting for the toys I wish I had as a kid, we'll see how much the Battle Wagon goes for nowadays and if it can be within my grasp. Now, number 2 on the list is a pound puppy. Yeah, I know, not very tough. And I was probably a little bit too old to get one when they came out in 1985. But, yeah, there's just something about these little stuffed dogs by Tonka that I wanted to have one. They were quite popular, honestly. I mean, I have to be honest here, and I did have the little itty bitty ones that were sold through Hardee's. I got those, had a bunch of them, but nothing like having the big full-size one. And the little doghouse carrier and everything. That would have been awesome. Now, like I said, I was probably a little bit too old, and that's why my parents kiboshed it. But they had no problem picking up the Happy Meal ones from Hardee's for me. Yeah, and while I'm being honest with my feelings here, I have to admit that even with those little ones, I took care of them. I pretended they were like real dogs. And that's in 1985. I was 9 years old. I mean, I was a weird kid, man. I'm still a weird adult, but at least I don't take care of stuffed animals anymore. Number 3 on the list is from the Disney movie Black Hole, and that is the Maximilian action figure, made by Mego in 1979. Now, Black Hole was Disney's attempt to cash in on that Star Wars money, that crazy little fad that was happening in the 70s, and it failed. It failed miserably, unfortunately. I can remember watching the movie as a kid and being bored out of my mind, but the movie had awesome robots and really great aesthetics. Now, honestly, I haven't watched the movie in decades. I should see if it's on Disney Plus. Probably is. Maybe I'll watch that after I watch the Ewoks movies again. But anyway, Maximilian was the big bad sentry droid that, protected the space station or whatever. Now, honestly, I don't remember much about it. I apologize. But I remember him. How he floated around and just looked menacing. I guess that was their attempt at the Darth Vader type. I don't know. But the figure was equally as awesome. It had little rudders on its feet where he could control where he would fly, and it didn't have a lot of mobility, but he was a robot and he didn't have that much mobility in the movie. But it just is awesome looking and an iconic part of my childhood, because my parents would always rent the Black Hole from the local video store. You know, when the Disney boxes were those big white ones. Yeah, those were good times. But like I said, that movie bored me because it had a lot of human melodrama to it that when you're a kid, you don't really care about. You just want more robots. Number 4 on the list also comes from a Disney movie, and that movie is Tron. That is another movie that I grew up loving, and I actually didn't find that one as boring as The Black Hole. And it's one that I've actually watched more recently with its sequel and enjoyed myself. So it kind of held up, at least in my eyes. But Tron toys were released by Tomy in 1982, and the one that I wanted more than anything was the Light Cycles. The Light Cycles, you got a figure and the cycle, and mind you, it was very simplistic. You know, of course, none of the bells and whistles seen in the movie because that stuff ain't real. But it just would be an awesome addition to any toy battleground, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I only speak from my own imagination here. But I bet G.I. Joe figures could fit in there. Maybe even Star Wars figures, depending on how they fit in there. I mean, I don't know how articulated the Tron figures were, but yeah, any 3 3/4 figure would probably chill out in this cycle and run across the battlefield. Just, like I said, my imagination just takes over of the awesomeness that could have been with the Light Cycle. Again, this was actually something I don't remember seeing in the stores growing up. But then again, it was 82 and I was 6. So I don't remember that much about being a 6-year-old. It could have been everywhere. It could have been very plentiful, but I just never got one. C'est la vie. Number 5 on the list comes from 1988, and that is an Alf puppet from Burger King. Yes, Alf, alien life form. The lovable character that was taking over the airwaves was taking over Burger King. And yeah, I remember seeing the commercials for the... Speaking of that, let's watch the commercial now, shall we?
Burger King has been invaded by Alf puppets. Please help.
Hey, I'm hungry. Yo, want a Whopper? No problem.
Just $2.99 and a plain broiled Whopper or large sandwich gets you your own Alf. 4 different furry aliens. Each comes with his own record.
'Cause we're doing the Melmac Drop.
These aliens are friendly, but they're getting out of hand. Hurry, just $2.99 gets another Alf out of here.
We do it like you do it at Burger King. Where'd you park?
Now at Burger King, Alf Puppets.
Cooking with Alf. We're hot tonight. We're cooking with Alf.
Get your kids It's a funny Alf puppet with its own record for just $2.99 when you buy a Flame Broil Whopper or any large sandwich at Burger King. 4 different puppet and record sets, each just $2.99 with a Whopper or large sandwich. Hurry in and give Alf a hand.
You don't have to do it at Burger King. You're cooking with Alf.
Okay. Seeing this commercial as a kid, I wanted one so bad. Problem was, my parents never went out to eat, and hardly ever at Burger King. For some reason, we only went to Hardee's. Yeah, we never went to McDonald's, hardly ever went to Burger King, always went to Hardee's. But anyway, seeing these commercials, there's only one that I wanted more than all the rest. There were 4 in total, like the commercial said, and they came with records, which I don't remember. But the one I wanted was the one with the Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, always been a fan of Hawaiian shirts. Probably ever since Chuckles, the G.I. Joe figure, came out. Yeah, always had a thing for them. Never had them until I was an adult, and I love them. Can't get enough of them. But anyway, the Alf with the Hawaiian shirt, I would love to have that in my collection today. Now, I know there's other great Alf bacchanalia out there, big talking ones, probably a bigger puppet maybe, I don't know, just shooting from the hip on that one. But I just want this little one. I have memories of it as a kid. I remember everybody had an Alf puppet, everybody, except for me. I was Alf free, unfortunately. And believe me, I was a huge fan of the show. I remember when, before it even aired, they were keeping him secret, not showing you what he looked like. And I remember tuning into that first episode and just being blown away. I mean, seeing Alf, looking back at it now, yeah, it doesn't hold up like it did, but this puppet, still something that I want. Love to get one now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. This was just a quick look at 5 things I wish I had when I was a kid. And like I said, they're just things that fell between my fingers one way, shape, or form. A lot of them, yeah, I don't even remember seeing them on the shelf. But something like Alf, I never got the opportunity. Never had it. Yeah, I really regret that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, leave me a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everybody. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this or any of the episodes that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, keep being rad, and stay dorky.